So let's jump into Wildstar updates. Open beta has ended. It was a mass murder on Sunday night. Everyone's character died.
Well, that's actually not true.
They died!
No, it's not true.
They're dead, Stephen! They're dead!
What is that accent?
I don't know.
Also,
I just wanted it to be dramatic.
Just call me Frost, for God's sakes, man. Look, okay, so here's the thing. They're actually not dead. I kind of said that they were dead on Twitter the other day after this event, but because we have Ops Week this week, they're actually not dead. So what is Ops Week, sir?
So Ops Week is going to be kind of like a stress test for us. So anytime from literally right now until Head Start, the servers could pop up and we'd be like, "Hey, guys, jump into Nexus and let's play the game and let's just test out how things are going." We want to be able to test our servers to see if we're going to be able to handle just a really quick hit like that. And so it could be up anytime. It will be up during Western hours. Obviously, we're located in California, and we need to be up for when this goes live. So they will be during like regular business hours, basically. And the servers could be up for any amount of time, really. It could be just a quick 10-minute test. It could be an hour. There's really no amount of time specified. It's a really random event. There won't be any like bonuses handed out or anything like that. The fun part of it is that you get to join in an ops test. It's kind of cool, really sporadic, and you get a little bit more game time just to kind of get those last few minutes. And every minute counts right now.
Yeah,
every minute counts. For more information, though, check our important information thread on the forums posted by Craig Turner, a.k.a. Cougar, and he's got a nice detailed thread there with it's a whole FAQ.
You want to hear my impression of Cougar?
Yes, I do. Wow.
That's it. You're welcome, everyone. Thanks, Internet.
Well, we'll be back next week with more Nexus. So that is really those are the big updates for this week. The Ops Week being the biggest thing there. So next we're going to be bringing on John Wiesman. But first, I want to show that video. So this is basically a video that was supposed to be a full series of videos that we literally we didn't have the manpower or the time to make them. But it's still an awesome video. I think the audience will really like it. You guys, it's never been shown before. We were never going to show it, and we pulled it from the grave.
I don't know that it died ever. Just to point that out. Chris and L made it, by the way. One of the guys that does the cinematics on our team. So
and he made the logos for the live streams as well.
Yeah.
Very talented individual, and now you get to see his work in the latest never before seen video about add-ons.
Let's check it out.
Hi, I'm John Wiesman, aka Bitwise, and welcome to the first of many videos from Bit Propulsion Labs, located deep in the heart of Carbine Studios. We'll be using this space for tutorials, answering questions, and showcasing advancements in our add-on community. But for now, I'm here to tell you about the engine that powers the user interface in Wildstar, why we care so much about it, and why you should too. Add-ons. Add-ons are nothing new. Most likely, if you've played other MMOs, you've used quite a few, or maybe even made one of your own. If so, you know that it can often be a frustrating process, sometimes just to set up and install, let alone develop. So for Wildstar, we're going to try to make this a better experience for everyone. With that in mind, let me make a bold statement. We believe that providing a fully customizable UI is essential to a premium MMO experience. We don't just want to make add-on development easier, we want to give you more control, more resources, and more input than you've ever seen in any other game. So there are two components to this effort. The first is Apollo, our user interface engine that provides a powerful yet easy to use API for players interested in making add-ons. It's the same system we use internally, so don't worry about not being able to modify certain aspects of what's already in the game. The second component is our add-on studio, Houston, a fully featured development tool that makes getting your modules into the game as quick as possible. Best of all, you don't have to search for it and download it off some third-party site. It comes with the game, and we keep it updated along with the rest of the client. Apollo and Houston, working together, are designed to provide a completely open-source UI for Wildstar. This means that every in-game Carbine UI module is fully available. On top of that, we also offer what we call peer-level functionality. This means that there are no hidden API calls, And more importantly, there are no special permissions for in-game Carbine add-ons. If we can do it, you can do it. We want you to feel that you are part of our community and that we're part of yours, and we are all working together to make the best possible user interface for Wildstar. And by doing that, we are making Wildstar the best possible game that it can be. Anyway, that's just a quick overview of what I'll be talking about over the next few weeks and months as we continue with development. I'm excited for launching this game, but I'm even more excited to see what all of you are going to do with Apollo. So watch this space, much more to come. Bitwise out.
So John, WTF are you? Who
Well,
the f are you?
Yeah, okay.
Good edit.
Yeah, is he?
Good.
I edited
My
myself.
kids are watching this, by the way.
Oh,
So
sorry.
That's all right.
Hi, Mr. Wiesman. Lovely to see you today. You're the nicest guy at Carbine.
Sorry
am.
I called you an asshole earlier.
That's fine.
Not sorry. Go ahead.
That's fine.
Sorry.
But
not sorry.
So I'm the lead client engineer, as you mentioned. I'm also just recently became the UI lead back in January.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. Or you're welcome.
Let's go with
How
you're
about
welcome.
both? How about both?
Let's go with
Yeah.
you're welcome. Yeah.
Yeah. And I wrote the, I'm the architect for Apollo, which is the UI engine.
I love that movie.
For,
Yeah, that's different.
Okay.
well, yeah. So I said it was a bold statement there. I still agree. I don't think that you can have a AAA MMO that is going to maintain a large player base over a long period of time without a fully customizable, programmable UI that supports add-ons. I think it's absolutely necessary. Because an MMO is not just one game, it's really a lot of games put together.
Right.
And so you really need to allow people to decide what they want to play and customize their interface, and also allow the game to evolve, or allow the user interface to evolve, because
we're not going to get it right the first time, right? I mean, there's going to be a lot of things that we're going to miss out on, or maybe that players that kind of have a better idea of maybe how they can display it. Plus, there's a ton of stuff that we have to do as well. So, I mean,
I didn't know you'd be talking.
yeah, that's part of the deal.
Well, see, it's like the two of us up here. I
Okay.
know. I know we talked
Okay,
about it
okay,
earlier,
well,
but I couldn't fight him off.
Unfortunately, Frost is right.
It happens.
So much hatred. I feel like I'm in the middle. Stop it, children.
Okay. So yeah, but that's true, and also, we say it all the time. Actually, the devs are listening, and we mean it. And not only are we listening, but we're also watching and stealing other people's good ideas. But but in case we aren't listening fast enough, a great add-on system will allow players who say, I really want them to do this. I'm not going to wait for them. I'll just do it myself.
Right.
And so, it's one of the great things about having add-ons. And like I said, I just think it's one of the most important things that you can have in an MMO, is just allowing players to have that capability.
So you mentioned it before, and I made a stupid joke about Apollo 13. But what is Apollo, and what is Houston?
Okay, so Apollo is the user interface engine. Houston is the add-on developer studio that's packaged with the game. A lot of people ask why Apollo, why Houston. So this is a little nerdy.
Sure. Surprise.
Yeah. Lua is the language in which the user interface is written,
Right.
and Lua is the Portuguese word for moon. So Apollo was the space program that took us to the Houston.
Oh, you were not kidding. That
It is
real
nerdy.
nerdy.
Actually, though, we have. Yeah, it's one of those jokes that is funny kind of the first time, and then it gets
Is it?
progressive.
Yeah. Is it though?
No, not really.
I mean, it's witty.
Sure.
Even for you. I mean, I'll give you that.
You talked about that you like to steal stuff, the content from other players. At what point do you take an add-on and bring it into the game?
That's a great question, Tony. It's almost as anyway.
It is almost as if I typed it up and sent it to you yesterday.
Banter.
Yeah, banter. It's good.
Banter.
So the basic thing is, whenever we feel that a UI or an add-on has become so prevalent or so good that if you don't install the add-on, you'd be at a disadvantage.
Right.
Then at that point, it really becomes important for us to try to incorporate that into the UI. Maybe not as the default UI, but at least as something that is an option that is easy for the user to turn on. Because we never want to put any player at a disadvantage because there is some Uber guild who has demands that, hey, everybody, you have to do this, install this add-on. And so when it reaches that threshold at which we feel that
so it's like you're kind of helping out players like me who don't install add-ons.
Exactly.
You would just kind of include that into the game for me.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Because everybody has a different style, and everybody has a different comfort level.
Yeah.
With those types of things, and we don't want anyone to be left out, and so that's one of the criteria that we would use.
Do you think that how much power do these add-on developers actually have? It seems like they have kind of a lot, being able to change things in game.
Yeah, so this is one of the things I think that really differentiates us from previous MMOs. We have, it was in that video, peer level functionality. What we basically mean by that is there is no difference between a Carbine add-on developer and an external add-on developer. If we can do it, you can do it. And so this basically means there's no hidden API calls, there's no special permissions for Carbine add-ons. It requires us to have engineered it in a different way. But basically, if you see something that you like in our UI, or something that you don't like, you can change it. And if you see something that we're doing, you can do it as well.
And the crazy thing too, and you kind of alluded to this, but Carbine developers use this system all the time.
Right. This is Houston is the exact tool that our internal developers use. Right. So they don't have any. The only thing that our internal developers have that external developers don't have is easy access to me.
Right. Which probably for the best.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly.
Let's be fair.
Yeah.
So that's, what are kind of some of the risks that we're taking on, giving the players that much access and that much power?
Well, there are risks. Seems
like it.
Yeah, there are. One of the more mundane ones is that some people are going to make some truly awful, ugly user interfaces. And they're
what
going.
Keeps you up at night, by the
way? they're going
screwing everything up.
They're going to use these horrible-looking interfaces that they're very proud of and they made themselves, and then they're going to go kill some raid boss, and they're going to take a screenshot of them teabagging that raid boss and post it on the internet and say this is Wildstar, and other people are going to look at that ugly UI and go, this is Wildstar, and a little piece of Matt McCarthy's soul will die. But that's no big deal.
If that's the worst thing.
Yeah, if that were the worst thing, that wouldn't be bad.
Yeah.
The actual worst thing, or potentially bad thing, is that anytime you have this much power, anytime you open it up to players, there is potential for players to try to do automation, botting, things like that. We don't want botting for the main reason that we don't want to screw up the economy. If people are writing a bot that runs around and kills low-level creatures just to acquire gold, that's not a good thing.
I mean, that kills games. I mean,
it does kill games, and
really
we do not want that to happen. And even if it didn't screw up the economy, it's not very much fun when you're in a zone and you see some person or a character who's obviously a bot going, point to point in a straight line and waiting for a spawn and killing it and stuff like that. So there's obviously game design ways in which we prevent that from happening, but the UI has to be engineered in such a way that if we're going to give players this much power, we also limit what they can do with that power.
Right.
And that's led to some.
Well, so we actually had a few questions here from the community.
Yeah. Let's pull some in.
Yeah. So we have Last Zenith. Will we be able to use Apollo and Houston for add-ons other than UI customization, such as RP add-ons, machinima add-ons, and economy, etc.? That's a pretty good question.
Well, that's an interesting question. Chris and Elle actually could talk to kind of the stuff that he's used add-ons for to do the cinematics and stuff. Those were done with, in some ways, with add-ons that Chris wrote. Other types of things. So an add-on doesn't necessarily have to have a UI. You can have it do all sorts of things just to do, for example, combat logging and analysis and stuff like that. And spit it out to a report or something.
There was the website for that, right? Like Wildstar Logs.
Wildstar Logs,
yeah,
right?
.com.
Yeah, I've actually, when we say the devs are listening, I've had a conversation with the people at Wildstar Logs to say, hey, I need to, I need to prevent this particular behavior because it could be exploitable. They have immediately had concerns about, well, that we're kind of relying on that to do our, what we do, and so kind of working with them to find a way that we can still allow them to do the very legitimate thing that they're doing while not allowing players to do naughty things.
Terrible things.
Terrible, awful things.
Naughty things.
Right.
Loop 404, a lot of other MMOs that have had very open APIs in the past have had issues with bots, hacks, taking advantage of the system. How is Carbine planning to deal with this? You were just talking about this earlier.
Right, yeah. So, one of the things that we do is in API design is, so for example, other games, when I talk about having protected functions or functions that only they can use internally, an example of a function like that would have to be something like cast spell, because you can't just have people calling cast spell from script, because it would all be done by logic rather than a human being.
Cast spell is the attack, by the way.
Right, cast spell, attack, whatever. Yeah. Some game action. So the way that we prevent that from happening automatically is we don't have that function. Instead, in order to make that happen, you have to assign that function, or assign that ability, or assign that action to a button, or assign it to a keyboard macro, and then the only way to make that happen is by actually pressing the button or hitting the key. And so that kind of reduces. It doesn't completely eliminate. There are ways to get game messages or Windows event messages into the game.
We also look at metrics quite a bit.
Yeah,
too,
we look at metrics. And there's a lot of things that we can do. We don't want to give it all away, but there are a lot of things that we can do.
He just had an eyebrow argument with you.
So yeah, the API design itself goes a long way towards preventing botting. The thing I was talking about with Wildstar Logs, they were using the clipboard in order to get information about your battle out to their program that, like I said, very legitimately analyzed that output. Well, people were using the keyboard to get real-time information to some external program that would do some logic and then tell the game, hey, now do this. We don't want that to happen. But there's very easy ways to get around that. We can just delay the output.
Right.
Right. So that.
Well, so let me ask you this. This is not a community question. This is just me. What are some of the? This is legitimate for once.
Okay.
What are there some add-ons that you're not a fan of that have been put into Wildstar that you're like, oh, this is not good?
Not legitimate. Right here. I forgot to ask that one too.
Yeah, that's cool. I understand you wrote it down, but
yeah,
that's fine.
And it's interesting because I've actually been thinking about that since you gave me this list of spontaneous questions. I don't really have a good answer. I've been thinking about it, and as long as they're not breaking the terms of service, I'm all for it.
Right.
One of the things that people did was make an add-on to do the Simon puzzles.
Right.
The quest, right?
So we have these things called client-side interactions, or CSIs,
Right.
which are these little, like, you interact with a panel, and then all of a sudden you'll see like a little puzzle that pops up. Like you have to memorize it.
Right.
So
I love it.
Right. It
As
solves
far
it
as I'm
for
concerned,
you.
this isn't a PvP thing. Those things are only put onto quest content, and if you don't like playing that game, it's not like you're going to get a huge advantage over that. So
Right.
if you want to do that add-on, people tweeted at me, "Hey, dude, I saw this add-on that helped you get through the Simon puzzles," and I'm like, "Put it on Curse. That sounds great." So
I would totally do that.
Right.
I hate puzzles.
So
They're so hard.
some of those things, some of those mini games for quests and things are there for people who enjoy that. If you don't enjoy that, it's not a huge advantage in PvE questing to not do that. And if you don't like it, another example is the Tales Beyond the Fringe, which I love.
Right.
The keys are spread out all over the zone, but if you just want to collect them all and you don't feel like going. Now, some people like that, right? They like exploring every single thing to find all of those things, and that's great, and they should be able to do that. But someone wrote an add-on called Radar. Actually, I think it was Packet Dancer, who's our very first add-on developer.
Yeah.
She wrote an add-on called Radar, which basically showed all the types of collectible things that were in your radius and told you how far away, so you could go and pick them up. I don't have a problem with that. I really don't. It's not the same thing as, you know, one of the things that we do to
well,
prevent.
I mean, and even, sorry to interrupt, but
go ahead and interrupt.
Yeah,
that's
that's fine. I'm gonna. So honestly though, somebody could go online and look that up. Too,
yeah, that's the thing. So all of this information we know is going to be online within days of Head Start.
Yeah, it's like a game guide.
If not already. I mean,
if not already, there's a lot of stuff that is already online, and so people who want to play the game, you know, truly or however you want to say that, are going to just not. They're not the same way they don't go to that website. They're not going to load that add-on.
Right.
So, you know, I'm fine with that. So,
very important question just came in. It's from Twitter. Ghastly Lantern. Where can I get that sweet shirt Bitwise is wearing? We talked about it earlier before we started the stream. That's a really sweet shirt. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so this is actually, not only is this from before Wildstar was called Wildstar, but this is before Nexus was called Nexus. At the time this shirt was done, it was Meridia.
Yeah.
Right. And
cool, man.
Vinball was a thing. You remember Vinball?
I do.
Yeah.
It almost made it into Wildstar.
It almost made it in.
Yeah.
But these are the Fighting Wall-Tusks or something.
Yeah, it was a game basically. Vinball was a sports game that people played, and you can see Vind in the game still. Actually, there are these little creatures that kind of inflate up and kind of float around. When
there were all sorts of quests with Vind. Remember, you had to push them into those collectors, and then you would
harvest
the gas, and then they would float out.
It was
that
kind
sounds cool.
It was weird.
Yeah.
But
and the boulderbacks, they would attach to the boulder. There was this whole ecology.
Yeah, there was quite the ecology.
It was really interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, they had.
But we cut it because, you know, why not?
That's how we roll. So
because why not?
So we had a sports game called Vinball, and so the Wall-tusks.
This is kind of like the uniform shirt of the Wall-tusks were the world champs in 2009.
So yeah, that'll tell you how old that shirt is.
2009.
And he still wears it like a
I think at that time there was maybe 75 to 100 people in the studio.
Yeah, it was a much
maybe even less.
Probably less actually.
Yeah, probably. So there's probably only about 50 to 75 of these shirts in existence, and I'm not selling mine.
So to answer your question,
you cannot.
No,
so I'm going to spill coffee on it later just to ruin his day. That's my plan.
So I should have foreseen that.
Matt Keefe, will add-ons break when new patches are released?
Almost assuredly.
We have a no bullshit policy here at Carbine Studios.
I love it.
And John Wiesman, firm believer in it.
Oh, that's great.
So add-ons, obviously Carbine add-ons, before we patch, we do some testing on ours. But your add-ons, so if there's something that will definitely break add-ons, we will increase the API version number, and then older add-ons that aren't updated to that will not load automatically.
Okay.
Now you can override that and say, I'm pretty sure this will work anyway, and take your chances with it. But really, it's supposed to be on the add-on developer at that point to say, oh, they've released a new API. I better make sure my add-on conforms to the new whatever that standard is with all our awesome documentation.
This epic moment of the week comes from Voodoo. Voodoo was streaming on Twitch, and it shows a video of a medic pulling a spell slinger back on.
So I want to go over this. This is a raid. This is Project X89. This is in the 20-person raid.
You're getting details.
Here's the thing. There's an attack that the boss does where it knocks everybody off of the ledge. And what you need to do is use your movement abilities to get back on the ledge. So let's start playing this, because we'll go through it play by play. What they're supposed to do is do that. Now, this is a spell slinger that gets knocked off, and he uses the gate ability, but he doesn't quite make it back onto the platform. What's cool is there's a medic that pulls him back on after his whiff. Boom! Right there, brings him back on, and he's still alive. That's a clutch play right there.
That is pretty slick.
Because, man, that guy was dead. But that medic, paying attention, that naked Granok pulled him back on there. Kind of awkward, but still super awesome. I mean, that's pretty great. That's a well done play right there. So yeah, that's the epic.
That is the epic moment of the week. Boom. And that is our show for you today. Tomorrow, once again, we'll be releasing a new video that is coming out. The reason that I flew to Indiana this weekend, and the theme of it is imagine what a tweet could do. Perfect. So that'll be coming out live tomorrow. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Nexus Report. My name is Tony Ray, joined as always by Stefan Frost. And thank you so much, John Wiesman, for coming in and talking about add-ons. It's been an awesome show.
John Wiesman right
Woo!
there. Everybody.
See you guys later. I like to do this.
Yeah, it makes you look professional.
It's cool.
Yeah.
We're all done.